And we are back with the Distortion Detective. Gonna read because I understand English. Alright, where am I on? Okay, I think we legitimately need to, like... Okay. I think that we legitimately need to, like, restart. Because... How do you put it? We had some stream issues the last time we were reading. So, unfortunately, we will probably have to restart with chapter 22? No, 23. 23. I think the stream issues should be fixed now because I was streaming yesterday with Alice and they were better. I still don't know exactly what caused it because, you know, I'm not no fucking programmer. But we should be able to... This should be fine now. Everything should be fine now. When's that big stream? What do you mean, Sharkio? Also, hi, everyone. Zerocon, General Garchon, Engmer, Big Bird. What do you mean, when's the big stream? Because I'd say that I did a pretty big stream yesterday. I mean, the only streams I really do are LobCorp, and then I do, fucking Monster Hunter. Couldn't find the words. And then I do this. That actually is going, what? Wait. I'm not debuting an OnlyFans, alright? The only way I'd debut an OnlyFans is if I had NSFW artists make NSFW art of my character. Alright? That's the only OnlyFans I'd have. Jeez. Jeez. Bro, you're making the chat freaky again. Already. Okay. I would say that we just hop right into it again. Yeah? What do y'all think? I say that let's just jump right into it. Right back into chapter 23, restarting everything. Welcome, Don Quixote. Chapter 23, Quercus Village. It's 10 in the morning. The sun beams down on the somber alley. We walked up the winding street. There are many unknown paths like this in the back streets. Uncharted streets not shown by any map. Walking into an unfamiliar street poses a great risk, as is the case with nests. Each area of the back streets has its own culture. Unexpected savages waiting around the corner. Walking down the street for around 15 minutes as Hanju instructed, I could see a sign that read Quercus Village. He didn't bother to give me a detailed description of this town. What are the cultural characteristics of the village? Are there any taboos? Anything? Will it really be okay for us to readily set foot in this village? I think I might turn the desktop audio back down a little bit. Yeah, that should be better. Y'all should be able to hear me a lot better. And I have the mic near me now. Should be better. Alright. It probably will be, as much of a shady creep Han is. He's not the type of person to lead us into death in such a primeval way. It took some time to smoke at the entrance before entering the village. Detective! Do you want me to prepare for combat just in case? Ezra asked, and I shook my head. Because we have no idea what this place is like, we shouldn't let ourselves look nervous. Let's act natural and pretend that we're travelers. Xianpei would be perfect as a food tourist exploring local eateries, Yuri added. I smiled a little. That certainly does fit Ezra well. That doesn't sound bad. We'll disguise ourselves as traveling writers who tour small restaurants hidden in the alleyways and street corners around the city. My work is to cover the venues and evaluate the quality of their food. As for you, Ezra, you can be my traveling partner and bodyguard. A person who goes around corners of the back streets would need someone to escort them, which justifies your use of force. Gosh, I love that idea. I want to be a bodyguard that also judges food. Do as you wish. And Yuria, don't say a word outside of emergencies, and keep your voice low when you do have to talk. It'd be a hassle to explain how a teddy bear can move and speak to the townsfolk. Duly noted. I ashed my cigarette in the portable ashtray. Alright, time to head in. When I entered the town, I couldn't believe my eyes. It's a quiet and cozy place, and lush flowers and grass line the streets. I see houses and buildings in vibrant colors that don't match the gray tone of the city. Brick houses that are about 2 to 3 stories tall, wooden roof. This beauty and peace is what you'd expect in a nest somewhere. How could a town outside of the nest be so calm and pleasing? I know that there are many alleyways known only to few, but I've never visited a place in the backstreets that's so snug and tranquil as this fairy tale town. Perhaps it's my knowledge that is shallow. Maybe there are more places like this one out there. Wow! Ezra seems to be struck with amazement as well. I looked around to see if there was any villager I can talk to. Not a single person outside. Perhaps it's obvious. This is a weekday. The townspeople likely have jobs to do and money to earn. Even then, this is eerily quiet. Looks like I'll have to poke around the buildings in the town. A restaurant should be an ideal starter. Ezra, look for eateries nearby. Will do! Ezra takes the lead with brisk steps. She seems quite excited. I lazily follow her along. This town appears to have about 50 households. The population would be around 80 people. A diner, cafe, or pub? There had to be at least one of those venues. Detective, over here! I found one! Ezra waves her hand at me. Looks like she found something. I see a door with a sign that reads Demar Tea House. Hearing the clanging of chimes, Ezra and I enter the cafe. It's a small venue with 4 tables and a floor space of 15 pyong. Welcome to the shop! The voice did not seem to expect a guest. Is this place open right now? I asked. Yes, of course. I presume you don't often get customers at this hour. You see, our town is in a rather remote spot, so I rarely had any visitors outside of the townspeople here. Oh dear. They are a little wary of us. I suppose this is a closed village as much as I suspected. I must say, I was surprised as well. I never thought I would stumble upon such a beautiful town in an unexpected place like this. Pardon my manners. Let me introduce myself. I'm Momo, a traveling gourmet who seeks out unknown restaurants in obscure locations. And this is my partner. I'm Momo's partner in travel. Name's Ezez. That's a false name, just as elaborate as mine. You are travelers. I see. Our town is certainly pretty, but I'm afraid it's not famous for its food. It's fine. Finding new restaurants on the streets I'm visiting for the first time is a genuine pleasure to me in its own worth. I'm Dewey, owner of the Demar Tea House. Oh, let me bring you the menu. We chose a table and took a seat. It's a charming little tea house. I could feel the warmth of the wooden construction. The afternoon sunlight shined through the windows. A sense of serenity and relaxation which is a rarity in the city. It's like a luxury that only those in affluent areas can have a taste of. Here's our menu. Take your time and give me an order whenever you made up your mind. Whoa. It's only just that a true alley restaurant connoisseur should try out every dish on the menu. Right, Miss Momo? Ezra, you glutton. Slow down, Miss Ezez. Did you forget that our rule is only to try 3 dishes the chef recommends? I lightly pinched Ezra's hand. She frowned a little in response. Dewey looks at us with a smile, seemingly amused by our little banter. Oh, hey, isn't that doll Comey the Red Bear? It's a teddy bear character that was famous for a while before it got discontinued. What? I was confused by the question that came completely out of the left field. What's a Comey? Ezra naively asked. You idiot. We're supposed to go with the flow, not ask questions about what is common knowledge to them right away. This will only make us look more suspicious. Oh, right, you said you're travelers. I guess you come from a pretty faraway place. The character was still pretty popular in its time, though. Yuria slightly trembles on my shoulder. She must have a thing or two to say about that. This was a gift from an acquaintance of mine, actually. I understand that you're a big fan of cute characters like this, Miss Ezez. Didn't you know about this one? I give Ezra a subtle signal. Oh, Kumi. Kumi the Red Bear. Yep, I do. It'd be a crime for me to not know Kumi. It's Komi. An awkward pause ensues. Honesty is the only way out of this. We're from the northern side of the city, so we don't know much about what goes on down here in the south. The north! You come from so far away. I've never left District 11 in my life, let alone gone anywhere in the northern areas. Well, you could say the same for most people in the city. I gave a serviceable response. It's time to change the topic. Well then, Dewey. I'd like to order 3 dishes of your suggestion. Okay, please wait warmly. Dewey went into the kitchen. I could hear the sounds of tableware rattling. I looked out the window. There's still no one out on the town streets. Is this town always so quiet? I talked to the kitchen with a somewhat loud voice. Ah, right now is the season for the harvest festival of our town. People who've got time to spare are preparing the ceremony at the town hall. A period of celebration. A closed village and unique customs. Not a good combination. Things like this usually follow a formula, and the formula usually ends with creepy cannibalism ceremonies or cultic carnage parties. However, if it was one of those predictable cases, Section 2 of the 7 wouldn't have bothered to entrust me with solving it. I'll take a straightforward approach. A harvest festival? Could we join in that festival, if you don't mind? Depending on the villagers' reaction, this can be categorized into one of the 2 types. Rejecting outsiders, or actively inviting them to participate. In the case of the latter, there's a high probability that the outsider ends up being the sacrificial lamb. This one, being a welcoming kind, would be much more convenient for us to resolve this mission. It's simply too much of a hassle to try and sneak into a festival that excludes outsiders. Of course! A festival becomes merrier with more people enjoying it! Dewey came out of the kitchen with food for us. Black tea, pancakes, and omelets. Looks plain. Ezra's eyes sparkled. Well then, enjoy your food. I'll go ask everyone in the town hall. Queenie, welcome! We're kind of restarting one of the chapters that we had done. And considering last time we tried doing this, some shit happened. Ezra, what do you think? It was quite orthodox. You think so too? Yep. A fairly sweet vanilla-flavored pancake, a moderately soft omelet, and a moderately fragrant cup of black tea. All standard. Thanks for being a member for 2 months, Queen. Your contributions are always appreciated. I placed my hand on my forehead. I guess I should just leave her to fill her stomach for now. I ran my eyes over the tea shop again. I still don't see any apparent anomalies. This is nothing more than a cozy tea house. Some time has passed. A door chimes rang as Dewey returned to the tea shop. Miss Momo? Miss Ezez? The townspeople all gladly agreed to let you participate. Shall we head to the town hall if you're done eating? Quite the welcoming kind. I have no reason to refuse it. The faster this job is dealt with, the better. Will do. Miss Ezez, how did you enjoy your meal? It was overwhelmingly satisfying, Miss Momo. We left the restaurant to follow Dewey. The time is just past 1 p.m. This village is a fascinating sight to behold. If I ever earn the right to retire and live to an old age, perhaps this is where I'd choose to spend the rest of my life. While I was immersed in such thoughts, we arrived at the town hall. This appears to be the widest building in town. Everyone! Here are Miss Momo and Miss Ezez, the visitors I told you about earlier. Ezra and I nodded a greeting. There are about 40 people inside the building. Each of them bids us a welcome. This is not good. I looked at Ezra and back at the townsfolk. Now I understand why Han Hee-jun gave me this job. A pleasure to meet you. I am Damas, head of this village. I heard from Dewey that you 2 are travelers. Yes, we're travelers who search for restaurants around the corners of the streets. I'm Momo, and this is Ezez. Alright, thanks for stopping by, Top Hat. Still good to see you. And Book, good to see you as well. Hello. Ezra cheerfully greets them. Thank you for allowing strangers like us to join the festival of your village. That's the charm of traveling, isn't it? Besides, festivals are more fun when there are other people to celebrate together. The townspeople are making effigies out of tree branches. We'd like to help you out with the preparation. No, you've come from a far place. You deserve some rest. I believe in participating in all stages of the festival, starting with its preparation is the way to truly enjoy it, as you mentioned. Domus laughed. You raise a good point. Then I'll tell the people that you're here that you two are helping us out as well. We helped the town folks with preparing the festival for a while. I carefully watched them while we worked. What I see confirms the suspicion I have is not just my imagination. Is there a place where I can smoke in this village? I asked a villager standing next to me. Oh, you're free to smoke outside as long as there's no one around. Just make sure not to throw the cigarette butt on the ground. Sure thing. I stepped out of the town hall. The clock struck 4. There's still not a single person out on the streets I can see. I went to a remote place and pulled out a cigarette, and I placed a hand on my forehead. Detective Moses, did you figure out anything? Your whispers? I puffed out smoke. Yes. I cannot see the distortion from any of the townspeople here. I remember this part of it. That, the townsfolk, are... None of them are distorted, at least as of yet. So I'm imagining that this is a large-scale distortion from, on a town-wide level, you know? Like, everybody's stuck in the distortion, or all these people are, just straight up not real. Chapter 24. The Emotions of Life. You can't see their distortions, but that has to mean that all the villagers here have psychomet according to our theory so far. We'll see soon enough. I stared at the cigarette smoke I had just puffed out. If I had my smoking pipe, I could have used the white breath to grasp the truth of this festival and the situation a bit more easily. The pipe. And Vespa. It's like thinking about overdue homework you procrastinated on the whole night. I walked back to the town hall. Miss Momo! Ezra waves her hand at me as if she were waiting for me to come back. Dewey is next to her. What's the business, Miss Ezez? You see, Miss Momo, it's almost time for dinner, so they're asking us to aid them with preparing food for the festival. They thought epicures like us would love to see the process firsthand. Oh dear, I am not cut out for cooking. Oh, but Miss Momo's a terrible cook. What do we do? How I wish I could smack her upside the head. I'll help you out by your side, so don't be anxious, Dewey kindly spoke. And my wife is here to help as well. Nice to meet you. I'm Mio. Let's all work together to prepare the food. Can't see any distortion from this person either. I'll try, though, as Miss Ez has mentioned, I'm not exactly skilled in the culinary arts myself. Don't worry too much about it. We make special kinds of foods for the festivals. Miu said a special dish. Human meat would be too cliche for this case. Ezra and I followed the two into the kitchen inside the town hall. Around 10 people are gathered in the kitchen, preparing ingredients for the food. The kitchen feels as snug as the rest of the village. The earthy smell of flour dough filled the air. Dewey and I stood before the kitchen counter. Ezra went to help me with preparing ingredients. We washed our hands with soap, and I wore the apron Dewey gave me. So, what are we gonna make? Sharky, you are already... We haven't even seen much of Vespa outside of that one fight. How are you already shipping? I am tired today. What are we going to make? Bread and soup. That's rather simple for food served at a festival. The plainness is what we're trying to make here. Your mind becomes contaminated when you fill your stomach with delicious, extravagant food. Coffee Grounds, thanks for being a member for 1 month. So many dedicated members. Eating extravagant food contaminates the mind is not an expression people would usually say. Contaminate the mind? That's a novel way to put it. You think so too, right? It's what our town leader says. They work tirelessly for the mental soundness of our townspeople. This festival is part of their efforts. No, Sharkigo hasn't gifted again. To be fair, people have been shipping Vespa and Moses since Distortion Detective came. You know what? That's fair. I guess. You think so too, right? It's what our town leader says. They work tirelessly for the month. Okay, we already read that part. Will the mind become healthy after participating in the festival? Of course. You get to experience it as well, Miss Momo. During the festival, we all wash away the filth from our minds. Maybe that's why our town hasn't had any crime at all, unlike most other towns. While Dewey is speaking, something emerges from their chest. Tiny black arms crawl out. The distortion is manifesting. What is this? Did the person just say something that provoked their own mind? Ezra and Mew bring the cleaned ingredients to us, and Dewey puts the ingredients in the pot, one by one. They wait for some time before adding each ingredient. Is there a specific order you're supposed to follow or something? Is this festival held every year? No, it takes place monthly. That's a little different from most festivals I know. Must cost a tidy sum to stage it every month. Although we call it a festival, it's actually a rather simple and modest. We only serve bread and soup at these festivals, just like what we're preparing now. Doesn't mean we can't put a little care into the cooking the food, though. A festival where the mind is cleansed. Held once per month. This smells like a religious rite. Furthermore, this soup has no meat or any animal protein. It's cooked purely with with greens and vegetables. Carrots, potatoes, mushrooms, and more. It's an average vegetarian food. Denouncing meat as an impure food is a belief commonly seen in many religious activities. Sharkigo, thanks for 20 memberships to all the lovelies. So congratulations to Margot's Artistic Corner, Deadcon, Blaze, Joe Carl, Emilite, Lego, Playman111, Bridgecross, Zitrol, Dual Fighter 1, DeKing, another 10 memberships. Bixth, Mio to Start, Sarah Reeves, Inc., Lesson, Noman Chris, Stephanie Janong, Fuzio, Annoying Bait, Maxim Lazaro, TOVB1, Josh Abrez, Lana Nielsen, Hustler 1, Starlight Silverwing, and Some Nerd, Mr. FBI, and Mikey, Logie Pogie 07, Quest Giver, Critcality. I believe that's all of them. Sharkigo. Holy shit. How? You donated like... Okay, I'm genuinely concerned like how much that costs. Like how much is like one gifted sub? Because, like, I know that I set my memberships at 99 cents, but, like... Goodness. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sharkigo. Hangmer starts singing My Way. Hey, I did that. Could have done it with a filter. In all honesty, I could have. Coffee Grounds, another 20 gifted. She and Yer was gifted. Sai, Ebobaus, Valorentium, Platinum, Depression Doggo, Gordon Slamsy, JPC Way, General Quinobi, Wacky Shuck, Ulysses, Skittlers, Void Gaming, Coffee Addiction Be Strong. Hey, that's kind of like Coffee Grounds. Oren, Lost, Half Metal Alchemist, What the Doot, The Silent Orchestra, Toffel. Congratulations on your new memberships, everyone. And again, thank you, Coffee Grounds. Yes, it's randomized Big Burb. But yes, thank you to Coffee Grounds for the another 20 memberships. I love y'all. Y'all are providing me with money to pay my fucking bills. Love you guys. Yes. Oh yeah, Big Burb, if you're wanting to get a gifted, then you have to, like, open the options to receive it. Yeah, welcome, what to do. Congrats on the gifted sub. Have the option on? Well. Again, congratulations to everyone, and thank you very much to both Sharkigo and Coffee Grounds. With that, let's get back into the chapter. Let's see. A festival where the mind is cleansed, held once per month. This smells like a religious rite. Furthermore, this soup has no meat or any animal protein. No. We've already done that. Okay, Miss Momo, let's season the food with a pinch of salt now. A festival where the mind is cleansed. Townspeople whose distortions cannot be seen. Dewey's sudden manifestation of the distortion. I need a few more clues to draw out an answer. Wait, Miss Momo, that's sugar, not salt! The cooking's almost finished. I didn't see any suspicious ingredients such as hallucinogens being added to the soup throughout the process. The festival is about to begin. People sit around tables for six in the town hall cafeteria. Bowls of the soup we made are placed on each table. A loaf of baked bread is put in front of each of us. Our table consisted of Ezra, Dewey, Miu, myself, and lastly the town leader, along with a couple of life-sized wooden effigies. They're the figures the townsfolk were making during the daytime. The effigies also have soup and bread placed in front of them. I looked around. There's a stage at the front of the dining hall. On the stage is a steel chair. The cafeteria is structured in a way that people can see the stage from their tables. Miss Momo, it's completely devoid of meat. Ezra whined, sitting across from me. I ignored her. There are more important matters to address. I can now see the distortion from the townspeople. The degrees of their distortion was all mild and slight, like Dewey's. I reckon not everyone in town has joined this festival. There are 57 people in this dining hall, excluding Ezra and I. No, that's not the case. All the villagers have gathered here. The town leader answered. The town seemed to have about 50 households. If it's true that these people are the whole population, that would mean most of them live alone. However, if I take the wooden effigies into account, the total becomes 102. That isn't far from my estimate. It's even possible that these effigies are occupying the seats where other townsfolk used to be. Where have they disappeared to? I need to investigate that. You must be remarkably pure of heart, Miss Momo. The town's leader spoke graciously. I don't see any filth in you. Mysterious phrase. Now, everyone, let the Harvest Festival begin. The town leader stood up and announced with a loud voice. Let us laugh first. All the townsfolk burst out into laughter at the same time, including Dewey and Miu. I laughed along. In a festival you're joining for the first time, you have to observe the mood and the people to follow their behavior accordingly. Ezra awkwardly laughed. The collective laughing fit went on for 10 minutes. When the town leader abruptly stopped laughing, the townspeople simultaneously quieted down. The town leader sat down. The distortions of the people progressed a little. Let us eat the soup. The leader spoke with majesty. The soup has a clean, savory taste. The bowl wasn't too large, so I could eat all of it before 5 minutes had passed. Let us gush out our anger, you filthy, heinous bastards! The town leader lashed out at the wooden effigy sitting at our table. People all yelled profanities too vulgar for description at the effigies sitting at their tables. What are they upset about? Dewey and Mia are doing the same, swearing with forbidden faces. Ezra and I followed suit. The townspeople distortions progressed further. Once again, when the town leader stopped cursing, the whole cafeteria felt quiet. Let us eat the bread, the town leader said, slowing their ragged breath. It's an ordinary loaf of buttered bread made from flour. The loaf is about the size of a fist. It doesn't have any particular flavor. The people quietly ate the bread. Karamik. I could hear a loud noise of teeth biting into something hard next to me. Ah! Dewey started bleeding from their mouth. A black object was inside the bread they were holding. It seems that what broke their teeth. That thing feels familiar for some reason. A round of applause! Following the leader's town words. All the people clapped in unison. Dewey, go to the chair. Yes. Dewey slowly rose from the seat and walked to the front of the dining hall. They climbed to the stage and sat on the steel chair. Oh, this is getting some... Ooh. Let us all cry for Dewey, who will receive all our filth. The town leader says, gritting their teeth and dropping tears. Everyone at the dining hall wails. The people cried their hearts out for Dewey. Something starts happening. The distortions of the townsfolk grew severe. The leader puts a tiny black box on Dewey's head. That thing bears a close resemblance to the box we saw at Young Produce Company. The only difference is the size. I see now. I have to put a stop to this now if I want to save Dewey. My head is ringing from all the cries. The box begins to vibrate. Detective Moses! This is... Yugioh whispered. Ezra, pull Dewey out of the chair right now. Got it, Detective. Ezra sprinted from her seat without delay. This is similar to the case of the Young Produce Company. Distortions flow out of people. A stream of distortions akin to a river is made. The extracted distortions seep into Dewey, who is crying. Miyu screams as the distortion manifests from her body. Her distortion is then pulled out of her, flowing to Dewey. Dewey is taking up all the distortions of the villagers. In their words, they're receiving their filth. The place is filled with the sound of laments. Dewey's body gradually swells in an unstable manner. This is driving me mad. Ezra stormed out to save Dewey, but she soon falters and kneels down. Even Ezra's distortion is about to be pulled out. What happens if the distortion is extracted from a person? Will the mental scars associated with it be erased? No, this is not the time to think about such things. I smashed my right elbow on the table. A blade extends from my prosthetic arm. The dining hall is echoing with sorrowful cries. Stop what you're doing this instant! I held the blade of my prosthetic arm at town leader's throat. Everyone, let us rejoice! Now, rejoice! The town's leader shouted without so much as a flinch. The townspeople cheered. Their shouts of joy could be better described as screams. Let us bid farewell. Make their parting a joyful one. As soon as they finished their words, the stage floor beneath Dewey opened, causing him to fall through a gap. The dull sound was heard moments later. Judging from the interval between the fall and the echo, the basement space isn't deep below. The stream of distortions follows Dewey into the space below the stage. The trapdoor begins to close. The screams of bliss continue. Ezra, we need to go after Dewey. I ran forward and helped Ezra up. Curses, the trapdoor is about to close. I use all of my strength to get up to the stage carrying Ezra, who was on the verge of fainting. I pushed her down the opening before making the fall myself. I fell on top of Ezra. We thankfully didn't fall from a height too high. When I looked up, the ceiling was already shut on us. I can still faintly hear the cheering of the townspeople. A putrid smell stings my nose. I had to look at my surroundings. Detective Moses, look over there, Yugioh said in her voice shaking. You've got to be kidding. I placed my hand on my forehead. This is a prison. The distortion of distortions. This isn't the distortion of a single individual. It's an amalgamation of people's distortions. There are 45 of such distortions down here. They match the number of wooden effigies I saw above. These are multiple distortions coalesced into large masses. I cannot begin to speculate the cause or abilities of these entities. Dewey moans and squirms. Their flesh expands and bursts. From the ruptures, arms and legs grow out. A swarm of butterflies come forth. Soap suds pour out. Utterly unfathomable distortions start crawling in our directions. I don't have my pipe with me. Ezra's laying unconscious. Fortunately, there's a door behind us. Yugioh, can you open your workshop now? I quietly spoke. Huh? Yes, I can. Then summon it now. Understood, Detective Moses. Yugioh hopped out of my shoulder and touched the steel door. Now, if I could open this door... I pulled the knob of the steel door. However, it won't budge. I used a fairy I'd been keeping in the inner coat of my pocket and gave it another try. The steel door still refuses to move. That means the door isn't a locked portal that leads to another space. This is functionally closer to a wall. It has been sealed from the outside, defined as a door that won't ever see its intended use. The distortion is getting closer to us. I kept forcefully pulling the doorknob with all my might. My right arm was stretched tight. I have nothing else but the motor strength of my prosthetic arm to rely on. This is an expensive arm Ezra picked for me. Hoping that Ezra's choice of prosthetic limb was correct, I pulled the doorknob using all of my strength. Steel chafing against the door frame produced a loud, grating noise. The ear-piercing screech drew the attention of a bestial distortion, which then started running toward me. Damn it. The screws on my right arm squeak. The joints connecting the prosthetic arm to my shoulder are starting to break from the strain, blood leaking from the open gaps. This hurts like hell. I shut my eyes tight and squeezed out my strength one more time. With a roaring, metallic noise, the door swung open. A flash of yellow bolted across the room in a straight line. A gaping hole was made in the body of a beast-like distortion that had almost reached me. The yellow harpoon got lodged in the wall on the opposite side of the room. Vespa stands in front of the open door with matted hair and a haggard look. He looked around for a bit before drawing his yellow huandao. Dr. Moses, you will have to take responsibility for what you've done. Glaring at me, Vespa spoke in a deep voice. Whoo! The man, the myth, the legend, Vespa is here. And he's here to fuck shit up. Wait, you said that there's an... Wait, hold on. There's a Sesbian Lex scene? Ain't no way. Don't spoil, alright? Jeez. Gotta get through these chapters first. Chapter 25. The Cellar. But before that, we'll have to handle this situation. I assume these creatures are of a similar nature to what was filmed in your footage. Actually, you know what? Let's do a music change. I think it's time for a music change. Yeah. Vespa mused before charging into the distortions. The creatures, each distorted in their own right, are slashed with the same blade, leaving a yellow trail in its path. When Vespa lifts his right arm, the harpoon stuck in the wall returns to his hand. It seems his broken arm is completely healed up. He slashes one distortion after another with a flamboyant yet disciplined movement. A pointy tentacle rapidly extending from the distortion. A pointy tentacle from a distortion gets sliced before it reaches him. God damn it, I keep losing my place. A beastly paw swung at him falls to the floor as a trail of yellow light passes through it. After neutralizing each distortion, Vespa thrusts his sword and harpoon into them to end them for good. The subdued distortions soon restore their human form, albeit as corpses brutally slashed and cut. I suppose this is a law of phenomenon taking its inevitable course. As they transform back into humans, the distortions had been shrouding them scattered away. They're most likely returning to the people who they originally belonged to. Vespa continues to advance without a hitch, creating yellow trails with his blade. If my prediction is correct, the most dangerous distortion should be lurking in the deepest corner of this room. The victim of the first festival, who had to take up the distortions of 100 people. Their shape would be positively unimaginable. In our current state, there's no reason to take a gimp by confronting such a being. All we need to do is find a way out of this dungeon. Hey, Vespa! The distortion's here! A harpoon grazed my face and nailed itself to the wall behind me. Blood flowed from the cut it bore on my left treat.
Silence, Dr. Moses. I do not wish to converse with a person who broke my trust.
An obvious consequence.
If you dare to run your mouth to me one more time before I ask first, my blade will slit your throat next.
Welcome, Sarah Reeves. Yeah, you got a free membership. Congratulations. Nothing I say to Vespa will get through to him right now. I tapped Ezra on the cheek, who was still unconscious. There is no mask on Ezra's face, which means Dewey has a hold of Ezra's distortion among many others. For Ezra to come back to her usual self, Dewey must die. This is the causality. I cannot solve the distortions here using my usual methodology. They are the distortions of so many people merged into one. It's impossible to face the past of each and every one of them. The only option remaining is to physically dismantle them like Vespa is doing. However, as a result, while Ezra could return to normal, we will have to kill all 45 people trapped in this cellar. Moreover, what will become of the townsfolk who will be subject to the accumulated backlog of their own distortions pouring into them back at once? While it may be possible to solve their distortions, they only possess a single texture each as opposed to the amalgamations down here. Those distortions will be severe, to say the least. Distortion of a singular pattern. Now I see the picture. It was that son of a bitch Han Hee-jun's design to cause this. Distortions tangled with impurity are not what the association needs. A pure distortion manifested from a single person. If we took care of all the distortions in this cellar, there will be 57 unmixed distortions overground up for grabs, saving everyone who was never a viable option in the first place. There was no saving this town the moment the townspeople started passing the distortions on to one another. The most reasonable choice I can make is to help kill all the distortions in the cellar, and to solve the unmixed distortions that will manifest in the town hall above with my methods. If I woke Ezra up and just ran away with her, I'd fail to save anyone. I need my smoking pipe. But the pipe is in Vespa's possession. Yuria, is there any equipment in your workshop I could use? Huh? Are you going to use it yourself, Detective? Yes. Those gadgets were all made with Ezra Sionbei's strength in mind. The force will be too strong for you to handle. I just need something that can land one huge blow. This prosthetic arm can deal with the recoil. Wait here for a second, then I'll fetch something useful from my atelier. Yuria ran to her workshop. I searched the room for Dewey. Ezra can regain consciousness once Dewey has been disposed of. With Ezra awake, I will be able to talk to Vespa without losing my head. Many times I have sacrificed the lesser for the greater in my life. Whenever I make such a choice, I can't help but feel as if a corner of my heart were being cut out. I see a distortion that appears to be Dewey crawling in a corner. It's not hostile. It wriggles on the wall, spewing butterflies, bubbles, paint, and other things from its body. Here it is, Detective Moses. You can equip it on your right arm. Yuria handed me a giant glove. Looks like a power gauntlet made for Ezra. Careful, Detective. That device was built specifically for Ezra Sionbei to use. I'll put the gauntlet on. Yuria, how do I use it? Clench and unclench your fist twice, then make a fist. Throw a punch once the gauntlet turns red. What I can do for them is to end them in a single blow and make it as painless as possible. Dewey may not be aggressive for now, but they might retaliate fiercely if I provoke them. I closed and opened my hand as Yuria instructed. The glove vibrates, releasing hot steam. My hand was always forced. Even when there seemed to be a choice, there was always a right answer. I was obligated to choose. The glove was heated. Streams of steam escaped, creating an intense noise. Vespa turns his head to catch a glimpse of me, then goes back to the slashing distortions. I threw my fist at the wall. The sounds of crushing flesh and exploding mechanical parts rang through the cellar. Detective Moses! Yuria shouted. I grabbed the painkiller from my pocket and injected it into my chest. Dewey returned to human form, or at least their lower half did. No one will be able to tell that this cadaver was Dewey, with his upper half missing. My face and clothes are smudged with bits of its flesh and blood. The prosthetic arm has been reduced to pieces from the recoil. Its components scattered all over the floor. My right shoulder was gone, along with the arm. As Yuria expected, the force of the device was simply too strong for my body. It served its purpose nonetheless. A mask appeared on Ezra's face. I shambled to her and moved my left hand with as much strength as I could muster to wake her up. Detective? You're awake. What happened to your arm this time, Detective? Oh, Detective, you've done it again! Getting yourself hurt while I'm away, Ezra scolded me in a tearful voice. It's not like I voluntarily walk into harm's way. Okay, now, I need to get my pipe back from Vespa. Vespa? Yeesh! What? What is he doing out of here? He's made it quite far already. Talk about inexorable. I'll explain the details later. Ezra can't manifest psychomint like that last time, because Yuria couldn't use her workshop to make more pendants. But we can still bluff. Ezra, stay alert and ready yourself for combat. A harpoon will come our way in a moment. I quietly whispered to Ezra, and she nodded as she put on her combat glove. Hey, Vespa! A yellow flash of light caught my eye. Zing! A harpoon came hurtling toward me. Ezra quickly deflected by kicking its shaft with her right leg. The harpoon fails to reach me and gets stuck on the door.
I believe I warned you not to speak to me.
Vespa was standing in front of me before I knew it. He's covered in bits and pieces of distortions as well. Do you wish to put a conclusion to our conflict now? Vespa said, sweeping up his rumpled hair. He looks haggard and gaunt, but it doesn't appear tired at all. His eyes still gleam with energy. Think you can handle us in that condition? Shaking dust off her hands, Ezra boasted.
Don't be mistaken. I'm not offering you a deal this time. This is a threat.
I looked into Vespa's eyes. If you don't follow my orders, you will die here. Besides, we're in District 11.
Did you just say District 11?
Vespa lets out a deep sigh. It's understandable that this news would hit him like a bolt from the blue. Then again, we merely did what we could to survive, and Vespa hunted us in order to get his work done. We shouldn't let emotion get in the way of this factual matter.
What do you want this time, Dr. Moses?
Sharkigo, another 20 gifted. This is your final? Honestly, please pay the bills. But, Potato God 2, Dave a Wizard, Kim Jong-soo, Dodolicious, a weird-looking cat, Rose Ultro, Hexing, RJ, Akar, 1234, Cav Zekval, Eduardo, an idiot, perfectly balanced, Void Alabis, None of Your Business, Israel Santos, Hiatus, a Duck, and Chi. Congratulations on your brand new memberships. And thank Sharky Goat for all of your stuff. Just can't gift subs today? No, you're doing so much right now. You've already gifted 50. Like, for real. Like, dang sheesh. One more and my card company will be on your ass again. Understandable. In all honesty, you donate way, like, so much anyways. And I'm always grateful for it. So, thank you. Just glad to have you. Vespa took the pipe out of his coat and tossed it to me. I caught it with my left hand. And my right arm? I ate it. After all, I had to survive by any means. In that instant, Ezra charged at Vespa with incredible speed. Ezra struck Vespa into the right cheek with her fist. Vespa instantaneously retaliated with striking his left knee into her chest. They two got into a melee, unfazed by each other's blows. What a doggish mess. The love of my parents never shown me. Oh my gosh. No. We love you. It's like the fight between a golden retriever and a Doberman. Yuria put my thoughts into words. Ezra, that's enough. I've lost my right shoulder. Even if I got my arm back, it would no longer be possible to attach it to my body. And I'm not a purist when it comes to body parts either. Ezra took a quick step back and stood in front of me. Vespa, you said you saw the footage, right?
I have.
Vespa replied, spitting a bloody spot on the ground. The beings here are much the same as the creature in that video you saw, in essence. People with the know-how call them distortions. These are not ordinary distortions, however. They were artificially created, are in fact distortions of multiple people mixed together. It would be easier to understand if you used them something similar as to the infamous pianist. Are they not similar to the monsters in the outskirts anyways? You could say that. Goodness. Point is, simple physical force may not be enough to deal with some of them. There's no guarantee that their attacks will be physical either. Didn't you feel as though as you progressed further in?
How should we terminate them? kill them with fire?
Hold on, check my Discord. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Hold up. You know, I'll put that. Give me a second. I need to save this image and give me a second. I also like this image so much. Give me a second. I'm gonna try and Okay. Current status of the chapter right now. That's funny. Stray dogs like the gang. Oh, that's good. That's good. All right, back to it. No, you'll need the powers of my smoking pipe. Yuria, I could use a twinning ribbon. Yes, Detective Moses. Yuria went into her workshop. Dr. Moses, what is the purpose of taking up such an occupation? To learn about the distortion. Are you saying that you acted out of simple curiosity? You're rather selfish. Thanks to you, I've lost quite a few things. I won't deny it. I'm a selfish person, as you said. I only act for the sake of self-satisfaction. You should know that neither of us are following some noble cause to begin with. You aren't seeking sympathy from me, are you? Vespa glared at me and put on a faint smile.
You're right about that.
We're simply doing our jobs. Detective Moses, here it is. I worked as fast as I could to make it. Yuria shook my leg to grab my attention and handed an orange ribbon to me. Ezra, tie this ribbon to my pipe for me. Got it. I held the smoking pipe adorned with the orange ribbon in my hand. I missed this sensation. I blew a white breath into the pipe. The white smoke shrouds Vespa and Ezra, as well as permeating into his yellow huando and her gloves.
What is this now?
It'll protect you from psychological damage some distortions will inflict. And the attacks you perform will leave more than just a physical impact. This is a method devised by Yuri and I. Based on the capability of the white breath to protect one from mental attacks, we perceived the idea that could perhaps be used in an offensive way to cause some kind of damage. The preparations are complete. We will head deeper into the cellar and take care of every distortion in this place. And solve the distortions of the town people above. Vespa, when this is over, I'll do what I can to straighten out your situation.
You certainly have a way with words, I will admit.
Well now, let's head into the deeper areas. Yes, Detective. Vespa and Ezra led the way, with Yuria and I in tow. The distortions assumed more disordered shapes the deeper we went. Ezra crushed them with her fists, and Vespa cut down the ones in his way one by one. The areas we passed through were littered with bodies of people who were freed from the distortion and death. I placed my hands on my forehead. I still haven't grown indifferent to the weight of the actions like this. It feels as though I'm constantly committing sins. Despite that, we must advance. With Vespa and Ezra's forces combined, the distortions are easily dealt with. Soon enough, we are faced with the one final distortion remaining, inhabiting the deepest area. In spite of the white breath coiling around us, merely looking at it makes my head pound. It takes the form of a sphere of flesh that floats in the air. I cannot begin to imagine the desolation and anguish this person may have felt, storing the distortions of 100 people. Vespa throws a harpoon at it right away. Blood spurts from the wound left it on its body. However, the harpoon couldn't dig deep into it. It's only stuck on its surface. Dozens of arms radiate from the globular distortion at once in response. The arms are all shaped differently, each composed of different types of matter. Vespa swiftly severs the arms and tentacles coming at us. Ezra pulls back and loads up strength on her arm, then lands her fist on the harpoon stuck in the distortion for a smashing blow. Propelled by the impact of the punch, the harpoon managed to tear a sizable hole in the distortion's body. The gigantic heart lying at its center was exposed. That needs to be destroyed. The hole is slowly closing up. Ezra, stop that open wound from closing. Vespa, cut the arms trying to grab Ezra. Yuria, tie a penetrating ribbon around my pipe. Ezra jumps into the distortion to forcibly spread the rupture open. Vespa wards off the threats approaching Ezra. Yuria jumped from my soldier onto my arm and tied a purple ribbon around my pipe. I took a deep, violet breath. The pipe assumed the shape of a matchlock rifle. Detective, the walls are closing in too tightly. I struggled to brace the gun against my shoulder using only my left arm. Dr. Moses, we need you to act quick. I only have one shot, and I must make it count. Put forth all of my concentration. Detective! I pulled the trigger. The bullet flew past Ezra's head and hit the distortion's heart. The spherical distortion squirmed and boiled for a short while, then blew up with a deafening blast. A stream of distortions poured out from where it was and flowed away. Covered in blood and flesh, we stood before the corpse of a young person whose heart was punctured. Whoo! This book just keeps getting better and better. Still, favorite part was just stop fighting. Stop fighting. We'll disappear for that for now, since we're going on to the next chapter. Chapter 26. Expulsion. There are no more distortions left in the cellar. All that remains are the bodies of 46 people.
Go ahead and tell us what to do next, Dr. Moses.
Vespa asked me in a cynical tone. We should go up, of course. Can't put my hand on my forehead or smoke from my pipe anymore. Can't seem to move my left shoulder as I will. I twisted and moved every part of my body I could to aim the rifle with only one arm, but I guess that wasn't enough to mitigate the gun's recoil. My left shoulder is dislocated, and my right shoulder is gone. I am completely powerless. Ezra, please carry me on your back. You bet, Detective! Vespa, I want you to exert physical strength on my behalf for a while. I can only take responsibility for you after we finish this job.
If you wish.
Vespa gave an icy reply. Verta, welcome! We're in the midst of chapter 26. Vespa gave an icy reply. Ezra picked up the smoking pipe on the floor and held me in her arms. Ezra, I asked for a piggyback, not this. It's easier for me to respond to danger in this pose. Can't believe I'm being carried like a bride at this age. Oh, is this the Sesbian Lex that was told about? Has to be. I yielded myself to Ezra's embrace. Yuria was sitting on top of her head before I had noticed. Leaving the cellar is going to be a fairly easy task. The floor of the stage we fell from didn't appear to be very solid, and it isn't too high above us, so Ezra and Vespa will be able to easily break the ceiling and secure us an exit. The real problem is what comes after we go up. I'm frankly afraid to imagine what kind of scenery might await us. We traced our way back to where we fell. Yuria closed the door to our workshop and withdrew it. When we opened the steel door again, a heap of rocks were waiting on the other side. The wall of large rocks crudely and doggedly piled up on top of one another is reminiscent of the townspeople's vehement disregard. The exit is right above us, Vespa.
Am I to slash open the ceiling?
Yes. Vespa brandished his blade without asking further. After a few trails of yellow light flashed in the air, the stage floor broke down. Ezra smoothly dodged the debris falling from above. We jumped up to the ground floor. When we got up, carnage was unfolding before our eyes. The polychromatic scene stimulates and overwhelms my mind. A hellish landscape we can do nothing to fix. This might be one of the 5 most detestable sceneries I've seen in my life. Right. This is what is destined to happen when distortions are intertwined with each other. It's not like what happened in the cellar. While the distortions I faced down below were akin to people with multiple heads asserting their own thoughts. The ones here are independent beings expressing their unadulterated desires. I should have known that better than anyone, yet I was oblivious to the fact. No. I merely buried it in the back of my mind, not wanting to bring it up again.
Dr. Moses, I regret to inform you that I am not capable enough to control this situation.
Vespa said in a low-pitched tone. Detectives Moses? The situation here looks worse than in the basement, Yuri had said, hiding in the back of Ezra's head. I can hear Ezra gulp from the nervousness. The distortions, each different from the rest, are killing each other in their unique ways. The strong harass and tear into the weak, as if to flaunt and demonstrate their powers. The scenery is the truest manifestation of the town's collective mind that had been suppressed until now. The glaring variety of colorful distortions grapple and rip into one another. This is what I would call the festival of the town. Can I really manage to save one of them? Noticing our presence, some of the distortion turned to us and fixed their gazes. A white-furred beast in the shape of an ape that has no eyes. A red tetrahedron with 8 eyes. A yellow mantis with the head of a lion. I sense hostility from those 3 entities. Vespa and Ezra will be able to handle the ape and the mantis somehow. The tetrahedron, on the other hand, my pipe will be needed. I closed my eyes and I made up my mind. Ezra, put the pipe in my mouth, please. Yes, detective. I ought to save at least one of these distortions. The choice I made in the cellar will be pointless otherwise. I placed the pipe to my lips as I asked. I let out a deep, pale breath. It's the sensation of life force leaving the body. This breath is beautiful, for it is respired at the cost of life. A translucent turquoise powder taking on the hue of an appetite, scattered across over the town hall, casting a blue glow. The powder adheres to the distortions. They begin to slow down, not long after. This is a powder of death. It brings the living closer to mortality. Death signifies silence and cessation. All living beings are brought to a stop. My lungs aren't big enough to exhale a breath that can stall this many distortions at once. Still, it'll earn me some time to confront with at least one distortion. Even if I can only save one of them, I must do what I can. Damn it. This might very well be my last breath. Detective, you promised not to use that breath! Ezra blew a gasket. I ignore her furious scolding, though. Vespa, don't strike the distortion unless they attack first.
I'm afraid I won't be able to obey that, Dr. Moses.
Vespa reaches for the hilt of his sword. It would appear that his patience has reached its limit. And yet, I thought I could reason with this young man to an extent. Bang! A blast similar to the explosion of a firework was heard from outside the town hall, and footfalls rumble the ground at the same time. I can hear the steps of multiple people, all wearing shoes. Familiar footsteps I've heard in the past. A group of people in black long coats and golden masks adorned with a single symbol of an eye storm into the— Oh, it's the Ujat! It's the Ujat! Yo! Fixers under Diaz's immediate supervision. Ujat. They form a dark wave as they wield their scimitars and ruthlessly charge into distortions. So that's how it is. The distortions, rendered immobile by the pale breath, are helplessly incapacitated one by one. Please forgive our abruptness, Dr. Moses. And I must say, you didn't disappoint. I knew I could trust you to subdue the distortions of this town without unnecessary casualty. Han Hee-jun walks toward us from the town's hall entrance. This request wasn't issued by the Seven Association. Han Hee-jun, he once again serves as Diaz's obedient little lapdog. He always has. I'm a hypocrite. Once again, I couldn't save anyone. Our party and Vespa were moved to a corner of the town square where we sat down to lick our wounds. Ujat, the private military force under Diaz's command, cleanly sorted out the town situation. They cage the distortions and make assiduous preparations to transport them, as well as treating our injuries with great care. Ezra won't say a word. She still seems upset about me using the pale breath. Then Han Hee-jun approached us. Dr. Moses, have this cup of warm tea as you rest. What is Diaz planning to do with the distortions? How can I possibly grasp what's on her mind? Anyway, I didn't expect you to be with Vesper Crabro, the taboo hunter of N-Corp. Is he that famous? Those in the know are familiar with him. I work for the Seven Association, you know. Ezra and Vespa are sitting next to me, still keeping their mouths shut. And I've brought news for you, Vespa Crabro, sir. Is there any sincerity in a thing Han Hee-jun says? He knows everything he needs to know, even with the fact that Vespa will be with us.
What is it?
Han Hee-jun handed an envelope over to Vespa. He opened it and took out the letter inside shortly before crumpling it and throwing it to the ground. Han Hee-jun, give this poor fellow a shirt or any clothing to put on. It's embarrassing to look at, you know. The jacket and shirt Vespa was wearing have been torn to rags after repeated battle. As you wish, Dr. Moses. Han Hee-jun beckoned his finger to an Ujat, who brought him a white dress shirt. I'll invite you and your company to Lady Diaz's place once this has been tidied up. Let me ask you something, Han Hee-jun. Or Hee-jun. What is it, Dr. Moses? Is it fun to mess around sitting on the top of my head? It's not very pleasant, to be honest. After saying goodbye, Han left us and walked off to the site of apprehension for distortions.
I hear that you can see the distortion from people.
Looking at me, Vespa asked. Yes. I answered, smoking a cigarette with my patched up left hand.
Then tell me, Dr. Moses, what do you see from me right now?
I see the tattered wings of a bee on your back. Vespa has been expelled from N-Corp.
Damn.
Damn! Bro got fired. No! You know what? That's fine. I'm fine with that. Now he can join up with the crew. Okay. I'm getting unusually tired. Conrad, KT1T, Conrad, hear me out. What if we got God damn it. KT, no. I'm not gonna entertain that thought. Chapter 27, The Mansion. We're in Han Hee-jun's car, driving down the road. Ujat's vehicles follow us, loaded with the distortions they've captured. The atmosphere in the car is comparable to that of a funeral. No one dares to speak first. Only Ezra is being fidgety, struggling to withstand this mood. She's not one to break the silence, though. Where are we headed? It was Vespa. He opened his mouth when spoke in a raspy voice. You have been invited. You'll be able to give your tired and injured bodies a much-needed rest there, Han Hee-jun answered. We're headed to Diaz's place, I bet. This is awful. I can already picture what will happen once we arrive in my head. Right now, I have no choice but to play into her hands. So, have we passed her little test? Yes. My personal impression is that your way of handling matters and the results it produces are as excellent as I thought, Dr. Moses. I'm certain Milady will think likewise. Sure she will. Driving along curvy roads, we arrived at a mansion lit with fanciful lights. Have a good day, KT1T. A backstreet's inhabitant could never dream to earn a tiny room in a house like this, even if they worked their tail off for their entire life. To add insult to injury, this isn't a house where Diaz permanently resides. It's a vacation home, a place as significant as a pair of shoes stored in the corner of a closet that may or may not be worn someday. She probably at least owns one mansion like this in every nest. After we step out of the car, Han Hee-jun leads the way for us. Before long, Diaz came running to me with open arms and hugged me. Moses, sweetheart! You must have taken great pains to get your job done. Good work, darling. I see you're still having fun playing with me like a puppet on a string. Don't be so cold about it. I knew you could do a wonderful job handling it. Right, Heejun? Yes, indeed. A sudden growl interrupts the conversation. Ezra's belly is such an honest alarm. Sorry. Oh, Ezra, I knew you were starving, you poor baby girl. I prepared a ton of rare dishes for you. Come on, let's eat together. Can this sassy boy clad in yellow dine as well? I asked, pointing at Vespa. Diaz answered in a completely apathetic tone. More than 100 kinds of dishes are placed on the long dinner table, and only 6 people sit around this table. That means most of the food will go to waste. A plate of food on this table probably costs as much as a house in a residential area of the back streets. In that sense, could this meal be considered extravagant? Such a description only applies to consumption beyond one's means. Diaz can easily afford this and more. Like, this chick is like more rich than Jeff Bezos. Like, more rich than Elon. Jesus Christ. To her, this meal would be the equivalent of purchasing a sandwich at your local Ham Ham Pong Pong. I'm sure you set up that scheme because there's something you want me to do. Cut to the chase, will you? Can you go to L Corp's nest? Diaz says with a merry smile. Are you referring to Lobotomy Corporation, a wing that recently fell? Vespa said impassively. Mm-hmm. Diaz replied to him without so much giving him a glance in his direction. You still haven't done away with that dream, huh? Of course not. I'm a girl with many dreams, you know? Isn't that right, Ezra? Yeah. L Corp. Once again, I set out for a fallen nest. This is the first time I'm making such a journey to such a place since the Smoke War. Brings back several memories. The night is long, Moses. Let me tell you about all the favors I want to ask of you, taking all the time we need. Oh, for Wing's sake. Says no. Goodness. Is this the Sesbian Lex? Is this the Sesbian Lex? So the L Corp facility is essentially like buried. Cause like the main facility was underground. The library is overground. Interesting. Wait, there's no way that we're gonna see like a certain like creatures there, is there? Are you proposing that I work for you like I used to? I won't ask you to be an Ujat, no. I'd like to hire Miss Moses as the Distortion Detective. A fallen nest of L-Corp has likely become a battlefield for numerous syndicates and fixers. What can the Distortion Detective do in the midst of such strife fought with cold weapons? Aw, Ezra. It's so nice to see you enjoy your meal, Diaz said with a smile in her eyes. Ezra is conscious of Diaz's attention, but she still hastily fills her stomach with the food on the table. What's more astonishing was the speed at which Vespa consumed his share. It almost looks as if he were inhaling food rather than dining like one normally would. Perhaps my prediction was incorrect. Maybe there won't be any food left to go to waste. Leaving the two to their meal, I continued the conversation with Diaz. Diaz, you seem to be interested in capturing distortions alive. Mm-hmm, that's right. Are you trying to fulfill your dreams by using them? Half right, half wrong. Diaz never lies. She won't tell the full truth either. That's the kind of fellow she was. She set a clear limit on how much she's willing to share. Will we find larger numbers of distortions capture in L Corp's nest? Or is there a particular distortion you're keeping an eye on in that place? Do you have any idea what's going on in Nest L right now, sweetheart? Diaz gives me a poignant stare, pulling her eyebrows together. What an abominable look. How long is Distortion Detective? 51 chapters, I believe? Lady Diaz, may I have the pleasure of explaining this part to her? Han Hee-jun butts in. Okay, I'll leave it to you, Hee-jun. I'm a total klutz at exposition. Han Hee-jun looked into my eyes as if to seek my non-verbal agreement before giving the brief. L-Corp's nest is currently under the shroud of a fog. It is of unknown origin. A shroud of fog. Another resemblance to the Smoke War. The situation isn't quite like the Smoke War. This fog simply hinders any attempts to observe by obstructing vision. Anyone who enters ends up getting lost. Still, I imagine quite the bloodshed is going on in the nest. And as you suspect, syndicates and fixers are murdering one another in that place, because it's a tempting opportunity to make a fortune. You would be correct. Have the fingers stuck to the metaphorical pie as well? The thumb and the index have made a mood. The index of all things. That's a bugger. So, what is the reason you're sending me into that war zone? Not seeing how any of this is relevant to the distortion. Diaz glances at me with one eye open, taking a sip of tea. There have been an extraordinary number of reports that are thought to be cases of the distortion in that nest. Didn't you say it's impossible to observe things in there? The fog merely makes it difficult to navigate your way into the nest. We do acquire clear reports of what people encounter within the foggy nest. You want us to capture distortions alive from there. That is correct. And there's more. We want the distortion in a more complete form. Let the distortions progress further. Foster it if necessary. Stir people's minds even more. How far does it have to go? Doctor, are you familiar with the term abnormality? Abnormality? No, I've never heard of it. In that case, I'll leave it up to your judgment. I'm only a fixer that resolves distortions. Then that makes you the most adequate person for the task of neutralizing them. Fine. What comes next? Tell her as to carry the distortion on her shoulder. Startled, Ezra paused her busy hands and shook her head while looking me in the eye. I'm just imagining her, like, mouthful of, like, food, and she's just like, shaking her head, like, super fast and violently. Ujat will come to pick it up when you do. How very convenient. Are they going to accompany us or something? Do you need the support of Ujat? Nope. I hate traveling in crowds. Wait, so was that why the Ujat got sent into the library? This could be. Nope, I hate traveling in crowds. I figured you'd say so. If one is prone to getting lost within a nest and surveillance over distance is out of the question, how are they going to find us? Dia smiled and gave me a well-packaged box as though she were waiting for me to bring up the issue. Here, a gift for my dear Moses. It's a prosthetic arm. A one-of-a-kind arm. You won't find anything like it in the city. I spent tons of money on this. It's extremely unusual for Diaz to consider any expenditure large. Whatever this thing is, it must be a work of insanity. With this arm equipped, Ujat will be able to locate you. Whatever that thing is. No. You can also communicate with me. That means I'll have to listen to your soddy voice wherever I am. She meant that this thing is a shackle. Heavy fetters attached to my ankles that won't let me escape her notice no matter where I go. How many distortions do you want captured? Until I'm satisfied. Potato God, welcome and congratulations on member. I'm holding back my boiling urge to punch that face. Yes, you are to secure distortions until Lady Diaz has satisfied the amount. And? Do you remember the black box you saw in Tai Young Produce Company? Yes. That box was procured from L-Corp's nest. You're telling me to find and bring more of these boxes as well. The black box that generated distortions. Diaz collects distortions and plans to create them herself. So that's how it is. With the technology in her hands, she might be able to achieve whatever filthy dream she has. And why should I take this job? Because this might be your chance for you to atone for your past, Doctor. I took out my smoking pipe and bit it into my mouth. Please remain calm. I'm saying this sincerely. I puffed out smoke. Dr. Moses, please refrain from smoking at the dinner table. Vespa scowled at me and groused in a deep voice. I don't mind it. Don't give him any attention. Smoke all you want, Moses dear, Diaz retorted right away. I internally let out a deep sigh and put the pipe back in my pocket. We'd like you to lend a hand as well, Vespa sir. Why is that? Because you might be reinstated in the wing with Milady's help. I'll regard that as silence as a sign of agreement. Oh, what if we got... Honestly? Okay, KT1T? Honestly, that would be pretty fucking goated. I'd love to see Ego yawn. What does an Ego looking at the... or looking like the will of the city looked like? Okay, let's say this whole deal makes sense. Where do you want us to begin? We have multiple candidates. Laundry of Dreams, the Human Thunderbolt, the Library, yesterday's Oh! Oh, baby! We got the Library, we got frickin' Pluto, Oswald, Church of Gears, Man-Eating Sandwich. That's enough. All ungraceful pet names. That's how the Distortion usually designates names for cases. I'll start with the Laundry of Dreams. It's great. Urban legend. An urban legend should be a good exercise. The Library is an urban legend as well. What do you think about that one? I don't get good vibes out of it. Understood. I'll be taking off tomorrow. What? But Moses, I wouldn't mind if you stayed here and played with me for a week or so. I left her behind and headed outside. I enjoy a bit of solitude on the terrace, smoking from my pipe. It's quite a contrast to the scenery I usually see from my office. The yard of this mansion seems endless. Beautiful lights illuminate the vast garden. Detective, are you really going to be alright? Ezra came to my side and asked. Have you mellowed out, Ezra? Yeah, I get it. That was the only option you had, but promise not to use that pale breath ever again. For real this time. I know what it does. If you use that power, your lifespan gets Ezra. I know that better than anyone. Of course I value my own life. I made that choice to use it so we could survive. Okay. Go to bed now. We've got work to do. Detective, about the atonement thing Heejun Sionbei mentioned, are you really going to do it? Yes. The morning draws on. I equipped my prosthetic arm Diaz gave and prepared myself for the trip. Han Heejun is waiting for us at the garden entrance next to a black van. Vespa and Ezra are loading the boot of the van with various gadgets. I placed my pipe in my mouth. Lady Diaz departed at dawn for someplace else. She wanted to say her apologies for not giving you a proper farewell. Right. I puffed out smoke from the pipe. And Miss Yuria, there's no need to pose as a normal teddy bear in front of me. Han Heejun quietly spoke to Yuria, who was sitting on my shoulder. The plush doll flinched a little. Ujat will set up an outpost near Estelle. You may head into the nest first. Guess we'll have to go Guess we'll have to go by car with Ezra as our driver. Maybe I should bring sickness pills. I'll take the wheel. Vespa showed up from behind and walked toward the driver's seat. Are you a good driver? You won't be disappointed. I got in the van with a bitter smile. This pitiful young man has become yet another toy in Diaz's hands. Doctor, I will be contacting you later. I gestured at him to sod off soon afterwards. The van's engine roared to life as it began to move. It's the beginning of another damned journey. Okay, I'd say that this is actually probably a good place to stop. I know that's a little off, but like these chapters, dude. That last case was fucking long. Holy fuck. We will Not next week, but the week after we will pick it back up. I believe next week on Sunday, we are going to try and do some Lethal Company with a lot of people. Like, names that you know. Freaking Empty Void, G-Chan, Demomenic, Aliciel, freaking maybe Foreman. I don't know, maybe who else? Who else? A couple other streamers. It's gonna be a huge lobby. That is a big stream. It's gonna be huge. You'll see. For now, I'll see the rest of you later.